Hi, my name is BB, and this is the time I almost quit my first ever game jam. Now, let's first start at day zero. This was literally the night before I found out about the fucking jam. So I open Opera GX, and lo and behold, I see something about a game jam competition. I was like, oh, what's this? Okay, and I click it. It takes me to itch.io, and I see the most confusing thing calendar that I've ever seen in my life. Next thing you know, I decide to not do that jam because it was like in Godot or something or some other language. I don't remember, and I don't know if it's showing up in the video, but yeah. Anyway, so after some time, I got a little curious, so I started googling and like searching up um, game jams, and eventually I found out how they work, or at least how the calendar works, right? Because like before then, I was like watching a couple of dev videos and like some people making games, and like I mean, as a kid, I messed around with Scratch, and then like I did do the whole entire Scratch tutorial back a few weeks ago, and I learned how to make a zombie game. I'm probably not going to show that on the screen, but I might link the guy's account that the guy's YouTube channel that I got, that I followed the tutorial from. Anyway, so I eventually find out how and where game jams are hosted, at least mostly they are hosted on itch.io. So if you want to go to a game jam, just search game jam on Google and you'll find itch.io and scroll down and you'll see the most confusing calendar of your life. Now, I'm looking around the calendar. I'm looking at like, oh, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, a week long, like these are short deadlines. And I mean, I've seen people do it, but I know I couldn't do it. And mind you, I literally just done some Unity tutorials, I think. Or I haven't actually messed around with Unity a few years back, but then I stopped. Anyway, so I eventually go scrolling for a while and I find an interesting title, Jam in Silence. What the fuck do they mean? The first thought like was headphones, and just coding and chill. No, I go open that and I see this whole entire thing about like, oh yeah, I'm talking about negative space, and it's this like it just has to have the theme. Okay, cool. I like the theme. I like the idea, and it's like, okay, this is intriguing, and I joined it after making an account and all that, right? And eventually figuring out how this confusing thing works. I joined the jam, and then the next thing you know, I'm pacing around. I have an idea, and like, ooh, this could work. So my idea for the game was we play as a guy, and he basically new place, and some weird thing happens. Boom, there was an accident because obviously there was an accident, and now he is in an alternate world, and then he's back in the normal world. And basically, this was my main mechanic. Basically, the player would be able to go between two different realms, right? And that was kind of the entire game loop, right? Because that would be negative space, right? Like it's this. So like you'll have the normal world, and this other world is just this black void, and that's it. We'll be calling it the void from now on. Anyway, so that was kind of my idea, and then like I had like ideas like, ooh, let's add some horror, let's add some action, maybe like it could be like an FPS. So, okay, cool. I jotted that down. I have a whole entire page and like a third piece of a lot of ideas, but I'm not going to explain the plot or anything else. But like that's the premise that you need to know. And basically, I closed my book and I called it a night. Day one, I basically just done some Unity tutorials because I don't know how to use C sharp and I haven't used Unity in like years. I thought that would be good for now. I kind of had a name for the character, but I decided to go, nah, it's fine. And I did think about a few more rules for the mechanic for the void and for the void mechanic, and that ends day one. Day two, I made a first person camera, a player movement, and enemy AI. I mean, it didn't really work, but it was still something, and I was going to look up tutorials later. And, yeah. Day three, I basically did another tutorial, just specifically for the coding, made a car move and stuff, and then I fixed some bugs. I like for a plane, because it was just one of I tried a different method, but neither moved, and there were no errors in the code. Day 4, all I did was just read the Unity documentation. Day 5, I wanted to focus on the player. Um, I basically restarted from scratch again. This was like my third attempt. I don't know where the second attempt was, but I restarted the game again. And basically, from there, I made an obstacle course, which I was very proud of, and some movement and the camera. And then I also got the player to pick up and drop and throw an item, which I was also really damn proud of. Because fuck yeah, holy shit. You enjoy the simplest things when you even something works when you code, bro. Ugh. Then day 6, I got the player to sprint, and I perfected the crosshair, but I did try to get the melee attack to work. I ended up in a circle of errors. Sorry, did I say circle? I meant cycle. I ended up in a cycle of errors, fix, research, error, fix, and then some more looping. And then, I decided that I need to get my life together again and, rather actually just learn C sharp properly and understand what the hell I'm doing. And then remake the game. I was so hyped when I saw progress of like the game coming together. Like this was just the skeleton, but like it was nearing completion and like it was just exciting. And then also the fucking errors pissed me off so much. Anyway, day 7. I didn't really do any coding because I was studying because I still have tests and exams and I have more tests and exams and this at this point I decided to take a break from coding to finish, exams. And I did. But I was gone for a while. And I mean a while. During this break, I didn't really do anything. I think I tried to get back into coding, but like I really just didn't want to do exams or actually do school because I'm in college now and I'm doing rewrites and it's a whole thing. I just really didn't want to be doing school. I think I just thought that was a waste of time. And that went on for like 2, 3 weeks, I think. And then out of nowhere, June 5th, a few days left, let's restart this thing. I made a basic test zone and wanted to make a pistol, learned the basics of Blender and modeling, and I made floating islands. Then on June 6th, I just followed another Blender tutorial and made a little cafe setting. June 7th, I made a pistol asset in Blender. June 8th, I made player damage and health system. I added sliding, sprinting, crouching, climbing, and wall running. Somehow got the gun to work, and that was a miracle. I made a player model and then never ever put that, on the player. Made an enemy that attacks and takes damage, and then also rigged the player model. June 9th, fixed the enemy and player getting stuck after they collided, made a game over screen and UI, made a main menu UI, fixed the play button, learned how to build and run my game because holy fuck, I didn't know that before, That was cool. Then like the UI needed more work, the crosshair, so I made a to-do list for myself to fix things the following day. June 10th. Randomly woke up at 3 a.m. and just started the day. Went back to the crosshair being visible at all times, made the mouse appear in menu screens, and crosshair disappear when the game overscreen. Made the player freeze when the game pauses and not deal damage, because that was an issue. Made an actual working options button, made the dummy settings not dummy settings anymore. Fixed the damage overlay to fit the whole screen and not just the canvas grid. Took a break to let the laptop rest, and then I had a big idea for a totally new game, and I believe it's never been done before. So I will probably work on that when I'm much more experienced. Oh yeah, if you want to know what my days looked like around then, basically wake up at 4 a.m., sleep at 12 a.m., and I just finally forced myself to sleep early on this one day. On June 11th, I learned about level design and Pro Builder, and I started making a tutorial level. I made movement a bit better. I finally made the core mechanic, which was the plane switching, made the code for that, but I thought that it still needs to be finished. Then I had a random idea for music. June 12th, it was a big day. I figured out how to make the maps switch between each other, and I was so excited. It was like a big celebration for like 5 minutes. I rushed up, I cleaned up everything, fixed the errors and bugs, showed my sister, and she was confused, but she enjoyed killing enemies. And yeah, that was something. Then I tried sending the game to my friends, but I then learned about how to share games, how you have to download a zip file, and how to switch between different platforms. You have to download those, and it's a whole thing. But like this was a great learning experience for me. Then I also sent it out to like a Discord where I'd like never talked, and I also had people like saying, "Bitch, we do not trust you." They didn't say it like that, but like they just said, "Stranger danger. We're entrusting this," which is a very fair thing. But now I know, socialize more. But basically, I couldn't get anyone to see if the game worked or to install it, and so what happened was I just recorded me playing the game, and basically I sent that out to them, and then this is what I posted a couple of weeks back. But yeah, um, and then I decided to call it a night. And then June 13th, I woke up, fixed up all the bugs, polished the level as much as I could, and then I struggled, but eventually submitted the game onto the Jam. I learned a bit more about uploading stuff on GameJam, on a GameJam. But yeah, it's not good, it's not polished, but it's still something that I made and I'm proud of it. And I'm going to make a demo. I'll probably make a devlog for that. It just took me forever to make this video, but I'm actually happy that I went through with this. Um, yeah, so the game is going to be titled Stifling Expanse. It is already called that, but now, you know, like I'm moving forward with this game, and hopefully I'll be able to produce a demo for everyone to play and test out, and I can get some feedback for when I make the bigger game eventually. My name has been BB. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Oh yeah, postscript. Um, I'm not only gonna do like game dev videos. There's also a bunch of other things I'm interested in. But like I thought, like this was like one of the ideas that I've had for a while now, and I just wanted to put that out there. So yeah, thanks. Bye bye. And remember that life is life, and you choose how to impact it.